This is Rockin Keto Amy. Welcome to today's Sunday Night Live. We have already, the chat is blowing up. I'm so excited. A bunch of awesome people here. Let's say hi to some people. So Carrie's in the house and he says hi to Evelyn. And then he says that he's pulling the boat up to the live stream. Row, row, row your boat. And thank you, Carrie. Someone put a sweating emoji there. Hit the like button a trillion, billion, million times. And just Jason Keto's in the house. Hey, Jason. How you doing today? I feel honored that you are stopping into my live stream. Whoa, which is blowing up. And Carrie says, what do you call a cow with a sense of humor? A Wagyu jokester. That is funny. And he also says Garfield loves pasta so much he's considered a pastatarian. Wow, these are just disappearing so fast. Lynn, 22QCat is here. Welcome, Lynn. And Carrie also has another joke. You know, when veggies go to the beach, they wear a zucchini instead of a bikini. People telling everybody hi. Lynn is calling Evelyn a vacation girl. And Carrie says, last time I was in HEB, there was a woman stocking the cheese. I told her to watch out for the debris. She dropped any on the floor. She laughed. That's funny. I take it HEB is a grocery store where you're at. And Lynn says, the pasta salad sounds refreshing on this hot and humid but sunny day. Haven't eaten dinner yet. So hungry, I wish I had some. So funny thing about that is I'm really turning my oven on. Carrie says, for the 4th of July, we need to give a duck the fireworks. He would then be a firecracker. Very funny. Evelyn, welcome back from your 25th wedding anniversary and the Alaskan cruise. I can't wait to hear about that. Your pictures are amazing. And Carnivore Jerry in the middle of a forest is here. I feel like in some ways we're twinsies. We both had hip surgery. We're both very tall. We're both on the ketogenic carnivore lifestyle. So we've really bonded lately. So welcome. More hellos. And Jerry says, did you see the animal? Yeah, yes, I did see Animal. And I finished it later in the evening. I thought it was very well put together. I'm sure there's some other people that are more picky here that might have some, critic about it, but I thought it was great. And Dustin, Keto Simple's here. Hey, Dustin, sorry for posting bad words in your live stream this morning. I just got an upgraded bifocal prescription and didn't see what I typed until it was too late. Well, until you called me out for it. I said something about carnivore Rick and ducks, and then it changed the word duck to a bad word, if you could only imagine. But I think Dustin got a good laugh out of it. So he's saying hi to everybody. And Lynn says, I haven't watched Animal yet, Jerry, but it sure looks good. I thought it was very good. I'd be curious to know what Dustin thinks. He's a little more thoughtful and critical about things like that. So everybody's still telling everybody hi. I'm not going to go through all of those. But Dustin does say, Jason, my man, how are you? And yes, Carrie, we always love your jokes. And Sean Bradley's in the house. Hiya, Sean. I hope your new job is going well. And Jason says it's trying not to melt, Dustin. Is it hot there, Jason, up north? Ooh, Aunt Kay's here. Hey, Kay, welcome. Good to see you. Evelyn goes, it's really you. Hi. More hellos. Oh, Taryn. Taryn and Sandy are here. These are my friends from choir, but they recently went carnivore. And I would love to get them on the channel and interview them. And I just have to say, I was so impressed about when we went to Florida last month, how they did carnivore, how they packed and everything, and they brought food. It was awesome. And April's here. Hi, April. Hope you are doing well. Oh, Wait, be right back. I always do this. Let me switch my accounts. Okay, so more hellos. Carrie says, I'm sweating in the house. It's only 94 inside. And was gone. Okay, I'm back. Whew. Sorry, very strange. I'm not sure what happened. Must have lost internet or something, which I'll talk to you about that. So we had a bad storm this week. Well, I really need to get making a recipe, but I'll just talk to you about this. Monday, my husband got in an accident at work. Nobody was hurt. He's a truck driver. Someone tried to go around him and hit him. So that happened. Then Tuesday, we had a terrible storm with 60-mile-per-hour winds, and our tree got uprooted. And so that knocked out our internet. So they came and spliced the internet back together. It hasn't been buried yet, but I'm wondering if we're still having issues. So my apologies. I wasn't even sure I was going to be able to have this. But we're back. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Hopefully everybody makes it back. I did lose the original chat. Yes, Lynn, here we go. Wahoo! Hi again. There you are. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on the recipe because I'm nervous that we're going to lose internet. Hopefully we don't, but I think I'm back, and I switched it to go on to my, what are those things called? My TP-Link extender. So, oh, Jerry, you have a truck driver husband too. Yep, another similarity. Thank you, April. And then Cindy's here. What's up, Cindy? And then Sean, yes. I am scared too. There's too much going on. We're too much alike. Yes. Yes. Everything's good. We still have to have 2 more trees taken out that haven't fallen, that are really close to the house, but I'm done. I'm done with these 60-year-old, 80-foot fir trees, because for those of you who remember, my parents lived next to me, and they had 2 70-foot fir trees that fell in the last storm, and then we had one that fell, and so I'm taking 2 more out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on the recipe because it's already 20 after 7. But one real quick thing about this recipe is these noodles. Someone sent me these noodles and said, you have to try these noodles. Well, they're made out of cheese and beef gelatin. And so, unfortunately, they don't do well in a hot dish because they just disintegrate when you use them in the hot dish. But then I really love these noodles. They were really good. So I'm like, I wonder if I can make a cold pasta out of them. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and we'll catch up with the chat here in a little bit. Let me switch over to this camera. Okay, so what I have here is, this is a stovetop recipe to make the noodles. And I went ahead and wrote up the recipe, even though this was a Facebook recipe. And we're going to start with a 1/2 cup of water. And go ahead and continue to chat because we're going to come back to the chat here. So we're going to put a 1/2 cup of water on the stovetop and heat this up. And that's going to come to a boil. And it doesn't take very long. So this is to make the noodles. And really this recipe takes about maybe 2 to 3. This recipe. All right, can you guys hear and see me okay? Because something was going on with the stream. All right, perfect. Okay, so this is just heating up. We're just watching a pot of water boil, which you're not really supposed to do. I suppose I could turn my camera back on and come over here for a minute. So we'll give that just a minute. Everyone telling people hi. Oh my gosh, sending prayers for all those. And Cindy, there's another person in the community that actually their house was destroyed. So I feel very lucky. I'm just a little off because I've been really tired from all of the events going on this week. More hellos. Dustin, you found me again. I bet you Dustin did it because I cussed in his live stream this morning. Okay, let's go back over here. It looks like the water is boiling. So the gelatin, I put a link into the description. A different gelatin that I use because I have two of these. Either one will work, but the other one's more economical. So we're going to put 1/4 cup, and this is a 1/8 serving spoon. So I'm going to put two of these in here. We're going to put 1/4 cup of beef gelatin in here. I'm going to turn this off at this point because it's already hot. And then we have a cup of mozzarella cheese. So a cup of mozzarella cheese we're going to add in there. And then we're going to add some, we're going to stir this up first. We're going to stir this up and then we're going to add some spices. So basically we're making cheese and gelatin noodle, a whisk or a fork out here to get that gelatin really. I think I'm going to do that. You grab a fork here and we're going to really mix that up. All right, let's try this. Because we really want to get that beef gelatin combined. And again, I'm just demonstrating this so you guys can see. And it kind of makes a cheesy goo mixture with the beef gelatin and the cheese. There's a spot there. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to add in some spices. It's really good. And you can put whatever spices in here you want. But I'm going to add some garlic powder or granulated garlic. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of that. Okay, and then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And I just have the Tones, which is pretty clean. So we're going to add that in as well. And then I'm going to add a little, maybe a 1/2 teaspoon of Redmond's organic seasoned salt. It says salt and pepper to taste, so just a little bit. And I'm going to use, now you could use regular salt if you don't have this, but this is my favorite salt. And then I'm just going to probably add like 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And then we're going to mix that all up. These noodles are so delicious. When I first made them, I was testing them because, like I said, these came from some screenshot from Facebook that someone sent me. I don't even have like a person to credit because I just think it was on one of those groups. Okay, we're going to mix this up really good. And again, it does have cheese in it. So I'm going to use a fork to stir this up. There's a couple of spots where the beef gelatin is still kind of clumpy. But these noodles are so delicious. Okay. So that's pretty well combined. A couple of clumps, but I think it should be okay. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this over here. It's very cheesy. All right, I'm going to turn my camera back to this one. We're going to bring this over here. And then what we do is I have a cooking sheet with some parchment paper. So what we're going to do is, hopefully you can all see this. Move this out of the way. And we're just going to spread this onto here. Okay, you guys are all probably talking about me right now. I actually just woke up from a nap, so I'm probably still sleepy. And I don't normally nap, Don't normally nap. But this week, I think I slept till noon yesterday. I actually was trying to be in Carnivore Rick's, Rick Charger Mopar's live stream yesterday, and I fell asleep during it. So I woke up probably about 8 and then fell back asleep. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to spread this out into like a square. Okay, we're going to spread it out into a square. Now, if you make multiples of these, you're probably going to want to do them on different cookie sheets. So if you do more than one serving, which for this pasta salad, I highly recommend. Yeah, and I'm just spreading this into like a square, trying to even it out a little bit. It's starting to cool, so as it cools, it gets harder to spread out. And we want no like blank spots. So I have 2 of these already prepared. So just spread it. What I will probably do with these is just cut them up and put them into the already made pasta salad. Okay, so this is what we have. Show that to you. And then I'm going to stick this in the fridge to cool off. Actually, that'll probably be cold by the time I get done. Okay, before I go on to the next step, let's look at some of the comments. All right, welcome back. Going for a walk. We'll be ear hustling. We'll do a walk for me too, Cindy, okay? Get a walk in for me too. All right. She's crying. If a cartoon food was real, which one would you want to say? Like the 80s Ninja Turtle pizza, Garfield lasagna, what else? Cindy says, hi, everyone. Yay, Amy is back. Yes, I'm back. Okay. That's funny, Keto Simple. I'm going to have to think about your request, Dustin. I'm not sure. Okay. I have the fans on me and trying to keep down the heat rash I have. Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. This is interesting. I like it. Cool. Carl says he wants a Dagwood sandwich from Scooby-Doo. I want a bento with onigiri from Manga. Actually, I can't even. I don't know what you're saying, Evelyn. You splainy. But I probably have to agree with Dustin with the Garfield lasagna, because Garfield was literally my favorite cartoon growing up. Cool, a Dagwood sandwich. It's so funny you say Dagwood sandwich because I have some lunch meats here that we're going to use for this. That's funny. For this recipe, Carrie says, Rockin Keto Amy's using her noodle. I'm trying. It's not happening very well tonight. Ooh, Scooby snacks. That's a good point. I got to think of something I'd really like to try. Oh, Carrie. Rockin Keto Amy can tell my jokes and she's said it's so cheesy. All okay. See it well. Good. Okay. Glad you laughed, Carnivore Jerry. Now that it's working, hit that like. Thank you, Evelyn. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with this live stream. Once this is done, I'm going to have to change the thumbnail on it. Thank you, Carnivore Jerry. I love being the punniest. What? Jerry says better than being the P unique Jerry. I don't know what that is. You said it correctly. Nijiri. I said it right. Yes. Okay. So we've gotten caught up on some of the comments. So we're going to come back here. And what I have, actually, I got my glass bowl, but we're not ready for that yet. What we are going to do is we are going to bring the noodles I already made over. And I'm going to show you how to cut these into noodles. Get rid of this. Make some room. I don't have a lot of counter space. So doing these live streams, maybe that's a blessing for these live streams. Okay, so what I have here is I have noodles that I already made, and I'm going to flip this over. See this? And it's very like spongy. And then I have a pizza cutter. So what we are going to do is we're just going to cut these into strips. And actually, I think I'm going to cut them in half and make shorter noodles, but you guys can do whatever you want. So we're going to cut these and put them in the bowl over here. And you do need to put them in the fridge. I had these in the fridge overnight. Now, these do not work for warm dishes. I was so sad because these are the best tasting noodles. So I will probably continue, and they're so easy. I will probably continue to use either the shirataki noodles or the miracle noodles, or continue to make Chris Cooking Nashville's noodles for my warm dishes. But this is perfect. These noodles are perfect. I could need a sharper tool. These noodles are perfect for cold pasta dishes, as long as you don't heat them up. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to make a second batch of this since it's so easy to do and take it to the meetup this weekend. So if you're going, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. There is a meetup in Eaton, Ohio, the Safe Harbor meetup. Post in the comments if you are able to go. I know it's probably a little far from some of you. Evelyn just got off the low carb, or the, is that the low carb cruise? Yeah, the low carb cruise. They went to Alaska, so I don't know if she's making it this year. And Carl has to work. All right, so sorry, this is the most time consuming part of this, but I wanted you guys to see how this goes. So this one was one batch. The other one was a little bit of a bigger cookie sheet, so that was 2 batches, and then I just made a 3rd batch. So this is what they look like in the bowl. Okay, we have our glass bowl with some noodles in it. And you can make these as thick or as thin as you like. And honestly, the last time I made these noodles, I tried them with spaghetti, and because of the gelatin and the cheese, they just melt. So again, not a real good option for like spaghetti, but for a cold pasta dish. And these are very stretchy. But the taste, especially with those seasonings in there, are so good. So I wanted to come up with something that I could use these noodles in, and this is the cold pasta salad is what I came up with. Sorry guys, this is the most time consuming part of this. Then we're going to add all of our ingredients. Actually, I'm going to cut this end off because it got a little dry, I think. Last time I made these, I made them and cut them right away, and then I put them in a Ziploc baggie. But because I wanted to keep this in whole pieces, I actually just tried to wrap saran wrap on them. You do not want them to dry out. They will get, like, the edges will get crispy. But for the purposes of this live stream, this is what I did. Ooh, here's another one that needs to be cut off because it dried out. All right, almost done with this one. And actually, I think I'm gonna taste this. So good. Oh, I'm fasting. I'm not supposed to do that. Whoops. All right. So we got to do this again. This one's probably because this was a double batch. Those are really thick. I might have to see if I can cut that into a thinner noodle. because I would probably, if I did this, do one batch at a time on separate cookie sheets, just so they don't get too thick. All right, I'm going to try to do this as quick as I can, but it's really not that hard. Yeah, this got a little thick in spots, but that's okay because these noodles are so tasty. I really wish they worked with hot dishes because they are good. Okay, probably just for the event of time, I will probably finish rolling these later, chopping these later, just so I don't bore you guys to death. So I'm going to move this over. Then we got our glass bowl, right? I'm still going to eat that noodle. All right, let's check the comments real quick. Jerry's laughing at me. Where is Rockin Keto Amy's glove being caught up on the chat? Fuzzy Adventures and More, welcome. Hi, I'm new here to this chat. How's everybody doing today? Thank you so much for joining us, Fuzzy. I think I met you over on Tuber Chat. That is utterly ingenious, Amy. So the noodles were not my idea, just so you know. They came off of Facebook, but I don't really have anybody to give credit to. Now the rest of this is my idea. Steve from Serious Keto has some noodle recipes that should work. I will have to check that out. But I just love these noodles. Hi, Fuzzy. We are going. Okay, so Cindy's going to the meetup this weekend. All right. Hello, Fuzzy. Everyone saying hello. Evelyn said I had some health complications on the cruise, so I'm recovering and not able to drive all that way. Oh, Evelyn, you're in our prayers. Please rest up and get better. I hope you're doing okay. We love you, and we just want you to be healthy. So take care of yourself. Hugs to you, Evie. She calls Evelyn Evie. And then some emojis. And then thank you. And then Lynn says, oh no, Evelyn, not in the middle of vacation. Yeah, that's concerning. Jerry says we aren't bored. This is fun. Okay, well, we'll start making this, and I may come back and cut some more noodles. And then Carrie says, hello, Fuzzy. Okay, so sorry you guys are looking at my feet now. But we have this. We have some of the noodles. Okay, we have some of the noodles. So next we're going to mix in our ingredients. And you guys can pick out whatever ingredients you want. But I have some deli meats. This is chopped deli ham, and you guys can go as clean or as dirty as you want. But we're just going to put in probably about a cup of chopped ham. I have a cup of chopped deli chicken that we're going to put in. Okay. And I already chopped this stuff up ahead of time, just so you know. I mean, it's obvious, but I have salami. And again, you don't have, if there's something you won't eat or can't eat, you don't have to add them. So I have some chopped salami. And you can really put in whatever mix-ins you want in this. And again, there'll be more noodles in here. I also have about a cup of chopped red onion that I'm going to add in. Coming from an Italian background, I just love pasta salad. So it was really hard for me to give up my pastas and breads when I first started. I have some Parmesan Asiago Romano blended cheese. And this comes from Sam's Club. And I love these. I also use these to make the cheese chips. So we're going to put, it's about a cup of all of this. And the amounts don't really have to be exact, okay? And then I have chopped cheddar. This is a block of cheddar cheese that I got from Sam's. We're going to mix that in as well. Okay, I chopped this yesterday, so some of them are kind of stuck together. It's okay though. We're going to mix it up. All right, I have red bell pepper, again about a cup or so. I may not have room for the rest of the noodles. There's so much stuff in here. I have cucumber. Make sure you guys do a big bowl when you do this. Okay, cucumber. And again, if you don't like one of these, and then I have halved cherry tomatoes. This is definitely not carnivore. This is definitely keto. I may not have room for those other noodles. Okay, so then, now I would have made my own salad dressing, but it has been a week, okay? It's been a week, and I'm just like, I'm going to have to buy a store-bought one. So I'll show you which one I bought. It's not absolutely 100% clean, but it's good, better, best, right? So let me get these out of the way, and I'll show you what I bought for the salad dressing. Again, I am going to mix in some more noodles. I'll just have to cut those up. But this is what I bought for the dressing. I decided to get G. Hughes sugar-free Italian dressing. And I don't even know how much to add here. But this is a pretty big salad. And I'm fasting, but I am going to try. I have not made this. Okay, this was just like one of those recipes you know isn't going to fail, because it's got a bunch of good stuff in it. And it really doesn't take long. I mean, I had to chop up all the stuff, but really that didn't take long either. So, oh, this is really sealed tight. I've never bought this dressing. I usually make my own dressings, but with it being a rough week, I'm like, my friends are not going to judge me. Well, maybe they will. Okay, so we're going to add some. It might take this whole bottle. And you guys, again, these amounts are only in the recipe, you know, just to kind of give you a guideline. You can really add as much of an ingredient or as little as you want. Okay, I'm probably going to add this whole bottle because this is a pretty big salad. All right, and there is a little bit of sugar in here, but it's 0 grams of carbs, 0 added sugars. So there is sodium benzoate, potassium sorbate, there's sucralose, soy, olive, and soybean and or canola. So like they're the Safe Harbor meetup. Okay, so this is what we got. I want to lift this up and show it to you. All right, but you can make this and it's clean-ish. And you could take it to a party picnic and it'll be better than any pasta salad you have there. Okay, so with that being said, I am going to try a little bit of this in front of you on camera. I want to make sure I get some of those noodles in there. These noodles, I don't know if you can see that, are fantastic. I just love them with all the cheeses and the veggies. Oh, that's probably more than what I should eat when I'm fasting. But I'm going to do it because you know what? Get another fork out. And of course, I just did dishes. Okay, so let's see. Let's see what this is like. I already know I like the noodles. That's good. I even like the dressing. The dressing is a little sweet. Not real tangy. That is very good. Do it for the cause. Yes, this is the bestest. Ooh, fancy. Now, Rockin Keto Amy is getting more cheesy. This is delicious. It could be because I'm very hungry too. Jerry says, honestly, I'm drooling. I'm sorry, Jerry. I know that you're carnivore, but um, you know, and I've thought about that. So I've thought about going carnivore for 30 days, but it won't be, I can't do it till after the 4th of July. I just can't because we're having people over. But I thought about trying it just because I put 10 pounds on and I just feel exhausted all the time. And I think it's hormones. So I'm considering doing that, but I will let you all know what I do. Paul's in the house. Hey, Paul. 16 types of cheeses. I'm fully invested. Yeah. Well, and if I did carnivore, there would be 2 things that are non-negotiable. Coffee, black coffee. I can do it black. And cheese. And I could reduce the amount of cheese, but I could probably reduce the amount of coffee, although I tried to reduce the amount of coffee on Tuesday, and that was the day the tree fell in our yard. And so I thought it was a sign from God that maybe I should just not stop drinking coffee. Jerry says, this is beautiful. Kay says, yummy. Carrie says, Rockin Keto Amy is being such a big deal with the cucumbers. Yum. This is, sorry, I got to take another bite. Those noodles are really good. But honestly, I've made a pasteless salad without noodles before, and it's pretty much the same thing. These noodles, though, are great. Sorry, I'm eating in front of you. Jerry says, you eat with your eyes first. I am in a smorgasbord now. And Carrie says, I got a spoonful of the salad through the computer screen. It is so good. Oh, black olives. That is a great idea. Now, I may not add those for the meetup. Of course, you know what? Maybe I will add them for the meetup because a lot of people don't like onion and a lot of people don't like, you know, cucumber or whatever. So maybe I'll just put them in there. Jerry says, no judgment here. Jerry says, bowl of beauty. And Lynn telling Paul hi. Do it for the cause, meaning take a bite. I need one more bite. This is just so good. Wow. I need to try to find a cleaner salad dressing. No, but that salad dressing is really good. Yeah, it does get better when it sits a while too, which I'm not fasting tomorrow. Of course, I just broke my fast, but whatever. I'm not fasting tomorrow, so I'm probably going to have there's a ton of salad here. I may have to take some over to mom and dad. Jerry says BBB and E until July 1st. No, I'm not sure I would do BBB and E. I think I need to just do carnivore because I think BBB and E is just too restrictive. Cindy says, looks good for next month, maybe. And I wouldn't make this every day. This is something that I would make. And then Evelyn telling Paul, hi. Jerry, reduce coffee, never. And if you guys didn't see my video on the storm, I know it's not really keto, but you know, this is a lifestyle. Bad things are going to happen in our lifestyle. And let me tell you, I really was very snacky this week. And I don't want to say like standard American diet snacky, but like I do have some keto snacks in the cupboard that I try not to eat. And I think I was doing more snacking this week because of stress. Woo, 95 degrees, girl, and you're out walking in that? No, thank you. Sean says, Cindy gave up keto chow for a month and look at all the natural. So that's what caused the natural disasters. It's Cindy's fault. And then I tried to give up coffee. Well, I didn't try to give up coffee. I just tried to only have 1 pot instead of 2. So I drank 1 pot and then look what happened. And then Carrie says, I make the pour over coffee, and when I make the coffee, since it's organic, there's brown color and black color in the coffee, and it's so good. Jerry telling Sean, that's funny. Yeah, Sean's funny. It's Cindy's fault. I did add some yogurt back into my diet. 2 crazy ketos had a snack to add the scoop of keto chow to the yogurt. The yogurt I have is just high-fat milk, bacteria being the Bulgarian yogurt. So is that the one the Indigo Neely makes with the L. reuteri? Evelyn says, I restricted myself to 1 cup a day on the ship. So when I went on vacation, I was not able to get the normal amounts of coffee I usually drink. So I had migraines. I thought it was from the coffee, but really it was from new migraines and the prescription wasn't right. But now I have, I think, a better prescription because I'm not getting migraines, but then I'm accidentally cussing in Dustin's lives on accident. Aw, Jerry's got to leave. Got a phone call to make it 7 Central Standard Time, which is 8 our time. And then Sean says, was it a Rachel size cup? Evelyn, I'll show you my size of cup. I have one of these fancy, this is not quite a whole pot. I don't even know how many ounces it is. It doesn't even say. But here is my, it's got like a handle, one of these fancy, I don't think it's Tervis brand or whatever brand like was expensive, but my husband got me this from his work and I confiscated it. So that's like 1 cup for me. And then everybody's saying bye to Jerry. And Carrie says, when I was in retail, I had about 5 cups of espresso and was jacked up. Now I have about 20 to 40 ounces of coffee that I do now. Evelyn, it was 30 ounces. I made it with pour over in our cabin. That's awesome. Cindy goes, Sean. Sean's on a roll. And everyone tell him good night. I got to have one more bite. Sorry, guys, but I'm really hungry. And once you break the fast, So let's take a poll. How bad is it if I make this salad for the meetup Saturday and I put in store-bought salad dressing? Maybe I should put the salad dressing on the side. What do you think? Is it bad? I bought a different brand. Let me get this one out. This one I might use. This is from Kroger. And this is organic creamy Parmesan Caesar. But this also has cane sugar in it. Caramel color. Now it is less than 1 gram of carbs, 0 added sugars, but there's junk in it. Contains egg, anchovy milk, organic molasses, organic cane sugar, what's organic caramel color? I mean, it's not clean. What do you think? Everyone's saying bye to Jerry. Carrie, we wish you could be there too. I know Texas is pretty far. You could use olive oil seasonings if you want to avoid the other stuff. Yeah. I guess I could put it in a jar because I'm driving to Ohio and I'm making this stuff ahead of time. So maybe I will make my own dressing. And Rockin Keto Amy needs to avoid the Ides of March with that Caesar dressing. You could put it in a cup on the side with the bottle behind it. That's what I was thinking, is maybe just put the bottle. I think I might just make my own. There are so many people there that are going to be eating clean. And honestly, I react. Sorry, I'm laughing at Jerry. I thought you laughed. She says, poop is organic caramel color too. I'm going to make the salad Thursday night. I'm not going to put salad dressing on it. I'm just going to take whatever with me. And I have some coolers in my trunk that I use to shop, so I'll put some ice and stuff in there. I'm going to be making, I think, the pizza pot pie, and I'm going to make a dessert. So I'm going to make 3 different dishes. Cherry. No filter. I love it. I'm leaving in 5 minutes. Yeah, Carrie, that is funny about the poop. Evelyn says, wash the bottle you just emptied, mix olive oil and seasoning, shake it, and set it to the side. Okay. So that's what I will do. I will make my own. I will use the bottle. I'll take the label off. I'll probably just, put on there what's in there. That's what I'll do. I might put a little bit of like monk fruit in there too to make a sweet thing. Oh my gosh, I need one more bite. This is so good. So I'm really considering doing carnivore and switching it up for a little bit. I don't know if I'll still do PSMF fasting when I do that, but there might be a couple days of OMAD. I might have to take some of this over to mom and dad because that's a lot of salad. Sorry, guys. Set that to the side, but that dressing's really good. It's sweet. Okay, so would you make this? What do you guys think? Is this something that you would make? Would you make it without the noodles? Would you make the noodles? I'm probably going to cut up the rest of those noodles and add it. Okay, Cindy. The noodles are made of beef gelatin, water, mozzarella cheese, and spices. And then you just, let me show you. You boil some water, because I still have this. Actually, I have some over here. The ones I didn't cut up. And I'm going to probably finish cutting these up. I don't know if you can see this or not. But you just put them on a cookie sheet on some parchment paper and put them in the fridge. Now, you cannot use these for hot dishes. I made that mistake because it's cheese. It's going to melt. Yes, cheese and gelatin. Cindy says, thank you. It's antipasti with cheese and beef gelatin noodles. And I wish, these are so delicious, but they just don't work in hot dishes. They just don't. But they're really good with the seasonings in there too. That's the other thing. I don't know necessarily that I want to give up the seasonings. She's still here laughing. And Jerry says, good one, Evie. So, I mean, I could do it. And I probably would still use the organic seasoned salt from Redmond's if I went carnivore. But I guess I really want to do an N=1 and just see if I want to see if I feel better on it, which actually brings up some good points. I have some talking points written down. So I already talked about the accident. I already talked about the storm. We're going to get more trees taken out. We thought they were going to come this weekend, but I think it was just too hot. So we're still dealing with that. But another thing I wanted to talk about was, and I haven't mentioned this yet because I really didn't know how I wanted to approach this topic, but the sugar diet. It's really been bothering me, especially because of all of the things. I mean, diabetes, cancer, all of the things that sugar feeds. And to see so many people in our community go on the sugar diet. But the reason why I'm bringing it up tonight is because I have been following Loving It on Keto influencers that I know that have tested the sugar diet. And I'm not, I think, and Indigo Neely, but I haven't watched videos from her recently. The reason why I'm bringing this up, because before this live stream, I watched Loving It on Keto's, their latest videos, and come to find out, what are their names? Anyway, his triglycerides went up to over 700, and so they immediately stopped. And they've gone back down to like 200. Wendy and Harry, yes, Wendy and Harry from Loving It on Keto. And then the other thing is, in a personal chat with Cindy and all them, Cindy, Dustin, Jerry, Andy from Mission Keto, I mentioned this, and they're like, also James from Ready Set Keto decided to stop the sugar diet when he was having some memory issues and some other weird symptoms. So if you haven't seen those videos, go to Ready Set Keto and Wendy and Harry's channel and just check out what they have to say about it. I feel a little, I didn't come out and say anything about that just because I have my thoughts, but again, I'm not an expert. I only can say what has worked for me. And having gone 110 pounds down, cured high blood pressure, cured eczema, cured asthma, my joint pain is gone. And if I accidentally eat something bad, mostly gluten, I can't walk for 2 weeks. So my joint pain is so debilitating, it returns. I can't imagine. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I've struggled on this lifestyle. I've gone up 30 pounds, I've gone back down 30 pounds. But above all, this lifestyle, I don't even want to call it a diet, this lifestyle has pretty much put into remission so many things that I was doing it for weight loss. I didn't even realize my eczema was going to disappear. The asthma that I've had since like 6, or that I first realized I had it since 6. I don't even carry my rescue inhaler. And I was so bad. I was using that thing like 8 times a day, which was over the recommended usage before keto. So that probably is why I haven't even gone carnivore, because so many things have been cured just by doing strict keto, that I haven't felt the need to go carnivore yet. All right, Jerry is out of here. Evelyn says bye again. Sean says we watched Wendy and Harry's video as well. I did too. And Cindy says, so glad they came to their senses as well. James of Ready Set Keto. And I'm wondering if it was just more of a like, let's try this for 30 days and see what happens, knowing most likely they weren't going to do it long term. Sean says, that was crazy. Someone else said their triglycerides went up as well. And James, that's what was going wrong with James. He was working out in the heat, and that's the right word for it, hypoglycemic episodes. Yes. So, and I can tell you right now, I may try different flavors of the ketogenic diet. Like I may try to go even more strict. I may go off of PSMF, which most people, even though PSMF, they say it's not sustainable. I've been doing it since 2021. So it's been sustainable for me. It's what's allowed me to eat whatever I want on the other days and not gain weight. Now I have gained 10 pounds back, but that's, I think, primarily because I've gone off of my migraine medication, and a side effect of the migraine medication is weight loss. So when I stopped that medication, I've gained 10 pounds back, but 10 pounds is doable. I mean, I stopped the medication in January, and I'm battling the same 10 pounds. And yeah, Cindy says Harry's triglycerides jumped over 700. So maybe I should do some keto gummy bears, because I do kind of miss gummy bears. Cindy says none of them were going to do this long term. Harry and Wendy were going for 40 days, James and Emily 30. And isn't it crazy? So I watched Dr. Barry's video. I watched Victor's video. I just watched Maria Emmerich's video. And it's so for someone who's, Maria Emmerich actually said, for somebody who's doing as much bodybuilding and taking anabolic steroids, like I forget his name, one of the guys who's promoting this diet, they can eat anything and it's not going to matter. They can eat whatever they want because they're taking steroids and they're working out crazy amounts. For a middle-aged or elderly female, not working out as much, they're not going to be able to just sit there and eat sugar. Or even a man who's not doing that kind of crazy workout and taking anabolic steroids. So, and Carrie says, Rockin Keto Amy, 2 Crazy Ketos had an old video where they made keto gummy bears. Yeah, I probably do that, and I probably use salty in them. So do like an electrolyte gummy bear. Thank you, Paul, Cole, and Mark Bell. And I'm not judging them. I will say Cole is a little hard to watch. He's very abrasive. Mark Bell's not hard to watch. I watched 1 or 2 videos from Cole just because I want to hear what he has to say. But I mean, every other word is the F word. And he's hard, and he screams. He's just hard to listen to for me personally. I mean, if you can listen to him, that's great. Cindy says, and they're extremely active and metabolically healthy. Well, and there's something to be said about metabolically healthy too, because maybe they aren't. I have a few female friends that are hardcore weightlifters and bikini bodybuilders and stuff like that. And one girl that I know, and I'm not going to say anybody's names, they smoke cigarettes when they're in the cutting phase um, to drop. So they do things that are unhealthy to their bodies to compete and to be the best at what they do. Uh, Paul says, I'm totally judging them. I can't stand either one of them. I think Cole is harder to take than Mark, but I watched a few videos just because I was curious. I'm never going back. Like I said, I may go more strict or try different things within the ketogenic world, but I'm never going back. I'm not diabetic, but cancer runs in my family. You know, colon cancer, breast cancer. My grandma died. We don't even know what kind of cancer she had because it was all over her body. It could have been lung. It could have been breast. Who knows? Yeah, Paul says, especially Cole, who I've seen here and there since 2016. And Sydney says, I've only seen a portion of Cole's and that was enough. Yeah, I couldn't watch him. It was just, and what's funny is I'm usually not offended by stuff, but it was just hard to watch. I mean, Sean says, I used to have a real bad reaction eating too much sugar when I was taking metformin. It would cause disaster pants almost immediately. Wow, I wonder if it was the metformin. Sadie says, totally agreed, Paul. And then Carrie says, you will not see me do that sugar diet either. And I'm not judging Ready, Set, Keto, and I'm not judging any of the channels, Loving It on Keto. But one thing that really, well, there's 2 things that concern me. 2 things that concern me are people, and I'm not saying this is them, because I really like them. They all seem like very nice, genuine people, but I'm concerned that people are doing what they're doing to change up their YouTube channels and get clicks and to kind of get shock reactions and stuff like that. I will never do that. I don't care if I never make a dime on YouTube. The reason why I am doing this is to spend time with all of you, you know, my good friends in this space. And I know I'm never going to be rich on YouTube. I have other plans. You know, so this is more of a hobby and just to connect with all of the people that I love in the space. I mean, if I do at some point make money, great, but that's not my primary goal. And I concern that people are doing it just to get likes and clicks and to change things up for whatever viewership and monetization. And I'm not saying anyone specific is doing that, but it worries me. And the other thing is, these people have established channels. So anything they do or say could impression somebody to, you know, maybe they stall. And I stalled for 2 years on keto. I've been through a weight loss stall. So I understand these people are stalling, so it's no longer working for them, or they're not finding the right tools to make keto work for them. And so now they have a big following and they're being impressionable on others who might be diabetic or who, you know, might be battling cancer or might just anything. And so now these people are going to jump ship on what we know works, and go over to something that I'm not a doctor, but and this is not medical advice, but I truly believe the sugar diet, I just can't see how that is healthy. I just can't personally. That my thought is it's not healthy. And Evelyn says Coach Bronson and Coach Nat are starting to cut this week. They are trying for 10% body fat. Nat has a competition coming up and Bronson agreed to cut with her. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they do. I have a feeling since they're in this health space that we all are, that they do things a little more healthy. Cindy says, I can say a both channel. That's not the case. I've met and got to, yeah, I don't feel that way with them either. I don't, I feel like and James and Emily were like one of the first people besides Cindy and Dustin and Evelyn and everyone to come up to me. And they just spent so much time with me. So they're very genuine. And I think Emily is, one of her videos, she was actually really upset that people were tearing her down so bad. And I don't judge any of them for trying something. Um, but it's just not for me. And I guess if it's not healthy, which my gut tells me it's not healthy. It would just, I would be concerned that someone would follow the path. So, I mean, they're following the path from someone else on YouTube. Carrie says, it's all the horses from stalling. And Paul says, the only person I was truly behind their change was Neely because she did it correctly with the fruit instead of the candy. Exactly. And I don't want to pick on anybody, so I'm not going to say which channel did this, but they were going and getting like these sodas with sugary sodas upon soda. And there was like, by Paul, like she did it correct, coaching her on how to. So I have been watching her channel as well, just because I'm curious, but I wouldn't do that. And Cindy says, right, Paul, and she is active and has gotten herself healthy. Correct. They are carnivore, ketovore. Who's carnivore and ketovore? James and Emily or Wendy and Harry? Paul says, exactly, Cindy. We were discussing this today at our lunch meetup. And Cindy says, cool. Yeah. So I feel like my only argument about the fruit thing is, which I agree, they're whole foods. But the fruit has been so modified over time that there's way more sugar in it. The fruit producers have genetically modified them to have so much more sugar. So like when I grew up, a red and green apple is what we had. We had red apples and we had green apples, and they were tart. Like when you took a bite out of them, you puckered. Now we've got Gala apples, Fuji apples, all these apples. And like when I first started keto, I was eating apples. I thought it was whole food and I could have it. And they were so sugary. I mean, and I think somewhere Dr. Berry says that an apple has the same amount of sugar in it as a jelly donut. So which one would you choose? I would choose a jelly donut. If I'm going to eat that much sugar, I'm going to have a jelly donut. So my only argument, and while I do think fruit is way better than sugary sodas, candy, processed foods, I still feel like, and Dustin brought up a good point. He's like, well, vegetables are processed. We've genetically modified vegetables and even the meat. So, I mean, I guess it's everywhere. But yeah, if I was going to promote this, I would definitely agree with Paul here that the fruitarian way of doing it is way better. Oh, Bronson and Nat are carnivore and ketovore. So I think it was in Thomas's live stream. I consider myself like 80 to 90% meat and eggs. So he said, technically you're a carnivore, but when I go out to lunch on Fridays, I'll have a salad. If I go out for social things, I'll have a salad. I don't eat salads at home. Of course, now I'm going to be eating salad for the next few days with a ton of vegetables in it because I made this big thing of salads. But so he said, you're if you're over like 90%, 80%, 85% meat or 70% meat, you're carnivore. I consider myself ketovore because I eat mostly meat and eggs and stuff when I'm cooking at home. But then, for the live streams, I make more keto foods because I'm more interested in getting people to come over to this lifestyle from SAD. And I think it's really hard for people to go straight from SAD to carnivore. So I'm hoping my goals for this is to lure more people in with, eat this instead of that from the SAD diet. But I think mentally I'm a carnivore. Like mentally, I just want to have bacon, eggs, steaks, ribeyes. Now I do enjoy avocados, so that's more keto. But I eat avocados too. Cindy says, "Oh yeah, with Bronson and that." Paul says Wendy was following the plan pretty accurately too until that final shopping trip. I'll have to watch that. Paul says, "Call it Carney close enough." I'm Carney close enough, which is funny, but I'm not going to change the name of my channel. So whether I'm carnivore or ketovore or keto, it's still going to be Rockin Keto Amy. And Cindy says, yes, Paul, she doesn't do much without a ton of research first. She mentioned a doctor she was following with that in her reply to my comment today. Yes. And Evelyn's laughing at Paul. Carney close enough. Actually, I think I should change my name to Amy Carney close enough. That is hello. Holly Springer's in the house. Hey, Holly, welcome. So, Holly, you missed it, but you can go back and watch. And the live stream ended on accident, but we made this pasta salad out of these noodles. And I'm probably going to, when we get off, I'm going to slice up more of these noodles that are made out of beef gelatin and mozzarella cheese. So that's what we did tonight. I wish I could splice the videos up together, but I may delete the first one, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with those. I may do part 1 and part 2 because the live stream ended unexpectedly. And then everyone tell Holly hi, and then Evelyn says, Carney's nomadic people smell of cabbage. I do like cabbage. As a matter of fact, that's the other problem I have. I love my soups. I love my soups. I make this fantastic ham, sausage, and cabbage soup that I love. I love my tomato soup, my tomato bisque, which is a little higher carb, but I love my chilies with vegetable in it. I love my soups. So I think if I did carnivore, unless I really felt that amazing, because I've cured the majority. Right now I'm just having some fatigue, and it has to do with, I'm almost positive, it has to do with me spreading myself too thin, my age, my hormones. So I just don't know. I mean, I would try it for like 30 days. I would give myself a time limit, try it for that amount of time, and if it's as amazing as they say it is, maybe. And here's the other thing. For the carnivores watching, do you guys do the flavored electrolytes, or do you only do the unflavored electrolytes? Holly says, hi, Cindy and Evelyn. And Evelyn says it's a movie quote. And Carrie says, Rockin' Keto Amy is a super woman. And Evelyn says, I might make your salad for the 4th of July. I would make it, but my husband and I are the only ketogenic people that are going to be at our 4th of July party. So I would probably not put those noodles in there. I would just make it without the noodles, just because I'm just doing this for you guys. I like it with the noodles in it. And honestly, I would probably make this salad once in a while just for myself. A smaller, okay, I get it. Yeah, baby. Yeah. That's from, oh my gosh. I can see his face. Oh my gosh, what is it? Uh, put it in there. Put it in there, Sean. What's the name of the movies? With Mike, not Miller, Mike, I can see his face. It's driving me nuts. And Carrie says, I made up my own electrolytes since I had found that French salt that had magnesium, and then the new salt that has, yeah, so oh my gosh, I need a nap. I made what's her name's electrolyte mix. Oh, you're mean, Evelyn. It's Austin Powers. Thank you. Yeah, baby. Yeah. He says that. Paul says, nobody will turn that salad down. Sad folks are not. Okay. What I may do instead, though, is I may make a cleaner dressing, a cleaner Italian dressing, just because I know when I go to gatherings and I eat something that isn't so clean, I don't feel so good. But for tonight, with all the disasters and traumas I've had this week, which everybody's okay, everything's going to be okay. I'm just tired. I just use the bottled dressing. Yeah, Evelyn's mean. Don't tell her, she says. It's Austin Powers. And Paul says, Shazam. Cindy says, BBBE will still be going on Saturday. Doing so good. Can't mess it up. So, I think Andy and Susan are going to be making a bunch of meat. So you just can't eat the stuff that I'm bringing. Because I'm going to make the pizza pot pie. I'm going to make this, and I'm going to make that dessert, the one I made for you, Evelyn, the chocolate chip cookie cheesecake bars. Evelyn says, you're killing me, Smalls. That's one of my favorite movies is The Sandlot. I do remember that one because I have said you're killing me, Smalls, for ever since that movie came out. That's my favorite movie quote. And Carrie says the Austin Powers with the sharks and the laser beams on their heads. I just remember the hairless cat and the a million zillion dollars. Hello, Evelyn. Holly says, I'm carnivore most days, but I do add tomato sauce and maybe spaghetti squash a couple of days a week. See, that's me. There are some days, and I've stopped eating salads with my dinners. But I may have Maria Emmerich's lasagna for dinner. And I love my red. I am Italian. I love my red sauce, my red pasta sauce. I love my tomato bisque. Now, could I cut that stuff out for 30 days, but to never have it again? I make my own sauce, like sugar-free sauce. So to never have it again, that would be depressing for me. But I mean, if I feel that great that I'm like, I don't ever want to stop this, then who knows? Sean says this past week was the 50th anniversary of Jaws and the 40th anniversary. Goonies! Dang, I feel old. Goonies was like one of my favorite. So remember the kid with the inhaler? Mike, I think his name was Mike. So I had an inhaler like growing up. And so when we used to watch out with all of our friends, they would make fun of me like that I was the asthma kid. And now I don't even need that. And Cindy says, I may have to bring stuff home for the first. Hello. Paul says, Alicia from Keto Upgrade. Carney close enough here too for a bit. Paul, are you typically carnivore? Or you like ketovore? Or you switch it up? Sean says, if you could only get your medical degree, you could be Dr. Evelyn. And Carrie says the Goonies was the best. You know, I'm going to have to go back and watch it. I loved that movie. And Paul says, I still can't believe Jaws is 50 years old. I feel old as get out. Me too. Me too. Evelyn's laughing. And Jason's here. Says, hi, Paul. 90% meat-based with veg for fun. That's kind of me. I mean, I'm very social. I sing in 2 choirs. It seems like I'm always meeting people out. I have lunch every Friday with some friends. And it's like, I don't like to eat out, but when I do, usually I get a salad with some sort of protein on it, just because it's the easiest thing on the menu. So that's why I call myself ketovore. I'm meat heavy. Honestly, in 2019, all I ate was eggs and bacon. I feel like I could eat the BBBE. I could do eggs, bacon, and butter. What gets me into trouble are these flavored electrolytes. Hi, baby. You're not going to believe this. I don't know if you guys know my story with my kitty, Audrey Hepburn, but she just walked in here, and she doesn't come out of the basement. Hi, boo-boo. Come here. So you can't see her because she's not on camera, but she just walked past me. So Kitty is in the house. She's doing very well. So Cindy says, dang, Paul, that would be great. Carrie says, with Jaws, we all need a bigger boat. Yeah, there's not a big enough boat. And everyone telling Jason hi. Sorry, Jason. We may have lost you. My live stream hiccuped. It just quit. It quit. So I had to start a new live stream. So he's telling Cindy hi. Carrie says, I will have to go back and watch The Sandlot. And then I just watched The Sandlot last year because that's one of my favorite ones. But I've never seen The Sandlot 2. Telling everybody. And Evelyn says, Audrey, she just walked past here. So she needs her own Instagram account, I think, because she's just so cute. Lynn says, aw, sweet Audrey. Yep, she just walked right in here. Oh, but we see Hank. Sorry, Hank's back here. Evelyn named Hank. Yeah, Cindy, she's coming up more and more, and she cries, and our other cat is still beating her up, but I mean, I don't know. He's just going to have to get over it. Jason says Spaceball 2 comes out in 2027, 40 years after the first one. Why did I hear that Mel Brooks was going to do something like that? Oh, here's another thing that's happening. Not that I need more on my plate, but this week, during all of this other stuff going on, I received my invitation to apply to Dr. Barry's coaching class. So I filled out the application. So fingers crossed that I get accepted. I will find out in August. So, because I think there's 200 people, there's 300 people applying for 200 spots. And Evelyn says, "Gimme paw." Terrence is Sandy here. As you know, Taryn and I were carnivores 95%, but starting today doing a 30-day 100%. Okay. So, I wish you would have waited. Just because I would have done it with you, but I got to get through the 4th of July first, I think. And then if I'm going to do it, which not 100%, it's a lot of meat. I mean, I could cook meat, and I feel like I worry that I won't eat enough. It's good to have frozen things in the freezer for me, like frozen soups, frozen lasagnas. I meal prep all that stuff, like taco pie. I just feel like if I'm having to cook meat all the time, like pork chops, hamburgers, fresh, that, and Lynn says, good luck, Amy, you would be great. And Sean says, thank you so much, Lynn. And Sean says, Josh Gad is supposed to be the son of John Candy's Barf character. And everybody telling me good luck. And then Jason says, I was wondering what they would do about Barf. So I don't remember a lot about Spaceballs. I think I saw that. Didn't they have like a Jabba the Hutt thing in there too? And then Barf was like the Chewbacca looking thing, right? With the ears. I don't know. I swear I was probably 8 when I saw that, or younger. Oh, Sean, Pizza the Hut, like Jabba the I'm gonna have to go back. I have to tell my husband we gotta watch Spaceballs. So yeah, Pizza the Hut. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. That is awesome. Why? How do we always get? And I love this. We always get on songs and artists and movies from the 80s on my live streams. I love it though because I'm an 80s kid through and through. Went to 80s prom last year. Got my hair real big and everything. Of course, my hair's big anyway. Sean says he was a Mog, half man, half dog. He was his own best friend, and Ellen says, "May the Schwartz be with you." That is so funny. Oh, too bad my dad's not in this live stream too. So, oh gosh, everyone, it's 8:30. Of course, we did get a late start because my live stream kind of messed up, but I'm probably gonna call this quits so that I can finish up these noodles, mix those in, take a little salad over to my mom and dad, and then get my computer back upstairs for my work day tomorrow. Because this computer is it's my personal computer, but we use it for work. So uh, my Schwartz is bigger than your Schwartz. And then why? Because we are all senior citizens, Amy. Well, not everyone. I'm getting there. I have my big 50 birthday next year that I'm not looking forward to. So, oh my goodness gracious. And I just want to thank you all for welcome. It's funny because I've been keto for 7 years, right? But I've just been in this community it will be a year going on October. So how I have done this lifestyle for that long and being in technology. Now I've had a Facebook group since 2021 that I was sharing information and live streams in. But then after Keto Palooza, several people welcomed me into this community. Dustin, Cindy, Emily and James, the Bears. I did get to say hi to Dr. Barry, and Maria Emmerich knows who I am too. I've been very active in her group and credit her for my success, because she was one of the first recipe creators that I was introduced to. Jason says I'm close to unlocking senior discounts this year. I feel like you can join AARP when you're 50. So, you can get senior citizen breakfast at like 55, can't you? I don't know. I don't know what that means, Jason, but you don't look like you're old enough to be senior citizen. And Evelyn says, plan a 50th birthday cruise. So I either want to do that, or there's this place in Ohio where you can rent either Tennessee, a cruise. There's this place in Ohio with waterfalls that you can rent cabins. And I would just like to go do that. I forget what it's called. For those of you who live in Ohio, there is a place there with these beautiful waterfalls that you can rent cabins. And Sean says, okay, what age do you start getting senior citizens discount? Shell and I turned 55 in December. I think it's 55, and I'm right behind you because I turned 50 in March. And starts at 55 here, yes. And then Evelyn says, the Bears. So I get that reference because I'm not far from Chicago. And you're from near Chicago, Evelyn, so you know the Bears, which is the Chicago Bears. And Lynn says, I never remember to ask for the senior discounts. At least they don't look at me and just assume I qualify. That's the key, and that's because you eat so well. And it's funny about that because I look at my photos from my 30s when I was obese. Let's just say that. And even though I have a little more wrinkles now because I've lost weight, and you tend to get more wrinkles when you do that, I look at myself now and I'm like, I look way better in my photos than I did at 35. Like, you can't tell the age difference. You can just tell that I look better. Jason says, I will be 55 in August. So we're all about around the same age. I'm right behind you guys. I'm at 49. I'll be 50. Cindy says, LOLN. Terrence says, I'm 55 and I don't get senior discounts. You could. I think you could. But I think I can join a senior bowling league. Well, I'm 49 going on 80. I use that joke because of all the hip surgeries I had started at age 38. So I always say I'm my age going on 80. Cindy says, you are all young. Maybe I'm just old at 67. Cindy, you look great for your age. So don't. Oh, and Taryn. So Sandy is watching. Sandy's my good friend, local here. We sing in choirs together, and she's carnivore. She's posting on her husband's YouTube channel. So she says, sorry, this is Sandy. Taryn is 59, and you're 55. That's awesome. Our senior activity center is called 50 North, Evelyn says. Lynn says, Cindy, I guess you and I are the old ladies here. No way. And senior bowling So you mean I can be in senior bowling? I don't even want to play pickleball. I've seen that pickleball game. That pickleball game is like, I would tear my hip again. I would tear my hip ligament playing that. Sean says, the first time I met the Bears, I was wearing my right to bear arm shirt with bears holding rifles. Chris commented about arming bears. I said it's no fun unless they shoot back. Felt bad after. Sorry, but that's funny. Cindy says, right, Lynn. Wow. Yep, so I'm going to be officially close to senior citizenship not too long from now, my last year in my 40s. I feel fantastic, other than a little fatigue, although I feel like I've been off and on battling fatigue since the C word. And I don't really want to go into the ruin my immune system. So I'm not going to talk about that. And then I got COVID 7 times. I got the C word 7 times, plus the thing they give you for that to prevent it. And I feel like I suspect it's that, which is why I'm considering going carnivore for 30 days to see if it makes a difference. Sandy says, okay, we're getting ready to eat some smash burgers. Talk to you soon. Love you, Sandy. Thank you for joining. Jason says it's really about how we feel, though. Right, it really is. And honestly, compared to what I felt like in my 30s, I feel great. I just have a little bit of fatigue, just a little bit. Well, and other things that happen when women get my age, but I'm working on that. And then Lynn says, the best thing about being old is being retired. Can't beat it. I'm a little jelly. My husband is 14 years older than me, and he is retiring next June. And I'm going to be working forever, but that's okay. So I'm going to be a little jealous that he is done with his career, and I have 15 more years. Evelyn says, Chris came tearing through the vendor's room. I yelled, help, I've been mauled by a bear. That's so funny. Was this on the cruise, Evelyn? And Liz says, yes, Jason, that's right for sure. And Jason says, I feel 100% better now than in my 40s. And I feel 100% better now than I did in my 30s. And Cindy agrees. And Jason says, I will work forever too. I am quitting when I'm 65. But my husband will be 80 when I'm 65. So there's that. It was at KPL. That's where I met Chris and Miriam. They were so nice. And I feel bad because I think Jason was at KPL too, but I don't know if we got a chance to meet or not. There were so many people coming up to me. It was my first time, and I was overwhelmed. Like, it was amazing how many people I met. And there's so many people. And there's one lady that I met there. Her name is Bella. And I wish she's not on social media. I wish I could get in touch with her. Cindy says, awesome, Evelyn. Paul says, I turned 55 this year, and considering 2 years ago, I finished second place out of 80 teams at nationals and beat teams in their 20s and 30s. On the way to that second place, I earned those discounts. You know what, Paul? That's amazing. I wondered how old you were because the fact that you're still playing professional volleyball. Paul's a professional volleyball player, and like volleyball was my sport growing up. I really loved it, but I've had so many hip surgeries now. I couldn't jump like that anymore. There's no way. There's no way. My brain wants to play, but it would be bad news for me. But I love following Paul because of the volleyball connection, and that's amazing. And I will tell you this: in my 30s, when I started to gain all my weight, I was still playing club ball, and there were guys that were like in their 60s playing, and I would like playing defense against them. It was like, dude, why am I struggling and sucking wind, and these guys are like in their 60s and they're crushing it? It's crazy. Jason says it's hard to meet everyone at events that big. Yeah, I agree. Evelyn says, met an amazing lady in the cruise. She climbed Mount Kilimanjaro at 50 years old. So my cousin, who is, well, she probably did it when she was 50 because this was a few years ago. But she's like 3 or 4 years older than me. She climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, and it was after she battled breast cancer too. Um, and Cindy says, yes, you did, Paul. That is awesome. That's impressive, Paul. Paul is amazing. Um, you are crushing it. And Cindy says, wow, Evelyn. And Paul says it helps having a partner. Your partner 6'6". How tall are you? I think I asked you this. I think you said you were like 5'9", or which is my height, 5'10", and your partner's 6'6", and he hits the crap out of the ball. And I'm a shot maker and always have been. Yep, that's okay. I mean, I was one of the tallest people on our team, uh, the female team that I played on, and we had to be shot makers too. Because when you play a mixed leagues, and I don't know if it's still the same now, but the net was a foot taller than just on girls' league. So when you play with guys, the net is taller. And they always wanted to make me set, and I'm not a setter. But because I was a girl and I was shorter than them, because they were all over 6 foot, they always made me be a setter. So I kind of had to get good at it. And I could back set and stuff like that every once in a while, but they weren't always accurate. I'm better playing defense or being at the net. And my serves used to be killer too. Sean says, I always tell my kids that old age and treachery beats out youthful exuberance any day. Treachery. You're so funny. Ooh, what was that noise? Something just made a noise. Interesting. Oh, did my live stream ended? It ended again, I think. Did it end? Am I still here? I heard a noise. Anyway, I think I am going to, I'm going to end this. Oh, it's still going, I guess. I think I'm going to end this and say goodnight. Oh, I'm here. Okay, good. I'm sorry. I'm traumatized from the thing ending earlier. But I think I'm going to end it so that I can clean up my kitchen and get ready for work tomorrow. Maybe go to bed. Oh, hold on. Paul says, with the doubles game, it's just me and him. Yeah, I hated doubles, by the way. So we run a lot of hit on 2 option plays because I get served all day. So I pass the serve reception up to the net. So it's just two. Yep. Yep, no, I totally get that. I did not like playing doubles. Especially sand. I like playing quads in the sand. Doubles is just, well, and that was back when I ate a sad diet and my asthma was so bad. And when you're playing sand volleyball, it's hot out. So it's hard to run the court everywhere when you have asthma. And but now, if I was in better shape, I'd probably be better at it because I'm eating good. Aw, Debbie is here. Hi, Debbie. We're just getting ready to wrap this up. Jason says, take care, everyone. Have a good week and try to stay cool. I have to hit the hay. Yep. Yep, we're not all in bed by 8. Okay, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream now. And thank you all for finding the second live stream after the first one crashed. I appreciate it. And we're going to wrap this up. And, no live next week because we'll be driving back from Ohio and I just won't be able to get anything ready. So hopefully see you in 2 weeks. No live next week. And you guys all have a wonderful